Welcome back, everybody. We're on to episode 14. Just check that for me, Simon. You got
Are you sure, DJ? Are you sure?
I hope so.
Okay.
We'll go with that anyway. Episode 14 of What a Load of Bowls, brought to you by the Bowls Academy. Simon, I see you launched some merch on your website this week on the Bowls Academy. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I did. We now have a shop page on the Bowls Academy. So, yeah, jump on there. We've got some What a Load of Bowls caps, hoodies, beanies. So, yeah, jump on there. Some merch, have a look. And, yeah, it'll keep your head warm in the winter. A little beanie, DJ. I don't know if I've got a size that fits your head, but we'll see.
That's a fair call, but at least I've got some hair to keep me warm. You probably need it more than what I do.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But yeah, mate, everybody jump on that, start spending, because the more you buy, the more chance I have of getting some royalties off Simon. So I do. But mate, I got a bit of feedback this week. Good friend of ours, Mr. David Ellis, also known as Junior. Bit of an ironic nickname because of how old he is. But yeah, Junior says that he doesn't really particularly like the first 6 minutes of the episode when we're talking about what we got up to during our week. So with that in mind, mate, how was your week? I believe you went on a trip to Brisbane.
I did, yes. I went for a little trip up to Brisbane for 2 days. It was a quick trip. Yeah. Sadly, having to come back for work on Monday. But I went up with Ellie and Ness up there to see Granny and Granda. So yeah,
nice. Yeah, Ellie's fairly racking up those frequent flyer miles with for 4 months old, isn't she?
She is, yeah. She's 2 flights already. And yeah, she's been to Tassie, she's been to Queensland, and she's even been out to Western Sydney. So yeah, she's been all over.
Oh, that's a fair trek out to Western Sydney there, man. Jeez. Dangerous one too out there.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my weekend, DJ, but not as eventful as your weekend, DJ. So
not
Club
quite.
Maitland City were at the Grade 1 state finals.
Yes.
And I managed to keep abreast of your results, DJ, and you guys made it through to the final. So won all your group games. And sadly, kind of fell short by 1 game.
Just the 8 shots in the final. The only defeat we had all season, unfortunately, came in the final. But yeah, by all means, mate, it was very, very good weekend. We've had a little bit of time to reflect. Not much. It's only pretty fresh still. But I go back to the start of February, and we played some pre-season trials and stuff. And we entered a pre-season trial tournament up here, and we didn't have the full 12 out at the time, but we were testing everyone out, and we lost to a 2-grade side in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So we did. Yeah, and if you had took me off the green then and said, it's all good, you're going to come runner-up in the state pennant final in Grade 1, I would have took that from you.
Yeah.
But now that you've been there, you get into the event, you build through the event, results start to improve, there's a couple of big wins, you make it all the way to the final and you get so close. You don't quite settle for that, but by all means, make credit to Cabramatta to win the Platinum Pennant final and to win Grade 1 as well, the top 2 grades in the sport. I mean, obviously a very strong club. They do very, very well. Yeah, they appreciate what they've done there, so they do. So they've just got the jump on us early. Very, very tricky conditions in the final. Everyone said that. I mean,
wind, I did say
rain,
that.
cold. Yeah, it was brutal out there, mate. Like I was wearing a hoodie. I was going to put the jacket over the top of my hoodie as well. You know, it was.
Yeah.
For people that came from our part of the world, it was pretty darn cold.
Well, actually, I think I did comment, DJ, on the live stream that the conditions definitely suited a mud runner like you, because it was wet underfoot and greens were heavy, so you would have been just like back home, DJ.
Yeah, but we came here to get away from that, didn't we? It was certainly in the final. It was off the long run up, bit disappointing. The Greens played well pretty all week, and obviously it's always tough when it rains, but they moved us on to settings for the final. That was just very tricky. It was very, very, very narrow rinks and stuff, but that is what it is. It's the same for both sides. Cabramatta got the jump of us, probably got a little bit more of a rub of the green early too, but definitely credit to Maitland City. You could tell that we wanted it because we dropped out to about somewhere between sort of 21, 25 shots behind, reined it back into 7, held a really good 4 on one rink, and there was a little bit of luck went to the Cabramatta skip, and he made a 2 out of nothing from that. And instead of being only 3 behind with ends to go, we were 9 behind with all of a sudden it looked like less ends to go. And but I mean, it was good to get there. I mean, it's always an aspiration to try and get there. Yeah, pretty emotional time on the weekend for me too. I know you're probably going to ask that question, but I'll run on to it anyway because we were talking on Saturday night. But yeah, just when I had 5 minutes after the game on Saturday to realise that. We weren't in the final, but realistically, there was as Junior going back to junior, he said, we're playing tomorrow morning, DJ, with a 0.001 percent chance of winning. They had to beat, we were 64 shots in front and the full 10 points in front. So we had to lose 10-0 and they had to win 10-0 by a lot of shots. And so we sort of knew we were in the final. So that Saturday, mate, just reflecting on basically my time at Maitland City, the teams that we've had, the people that have moved on, and possibly a bit of chaos that have moved on. Looking back and seeing that we've actually made that state final was quite cathartic, mate. Quite definitely proud to have made it.
Yeah,
but yeah, cool.
Just touching on that, DJ, it is something for your club and your Grade 1 side to make it all the way to a state final, and it's a big effort from not only 12 players but yourself as a manager, or the guy in charge of them, and the club itself as well. To get that far, to fall short, it's still a massive achievement. And when you look back, it's not something that just happens overnight, or it's something that happens the year before. It's something that builds over years and years, that you can actually make it there. And it's credit to your club that you've done that, you've got there. And as you've alluded to, maybe some hurdles along the way, and you get over those hurdles, or you get past those moments where you just think, oh, this isn't going right, or team's not really built the way you want it to. But for all the listeners out there, you get past those hurdles, you work your way through it, and it's more of a long-term objective thing. It's not something that all of a sudden you decide next year that we're going to make a state final. It's something you got to build on year and build that momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was throughout the year. It was a tricky type of season. I mean, we had to play in one of those multi-grade competitions back at home, and we weren't playing maybe to the standard of competition that we want to all the time. But the good thing about that is too, however, winning becomes a bit of a habit. So you get used to it, and you get used to putting those goals in and knowing that's going to get it close. We just got to rattle through the motions here, and we'll get in front. We'll kick on when we need to kick on. And the guys showed throughout the season that we could just go up a gear and go up a gear and go up a gear and go up a gear. And we did that in the final again. It just, unfortunately, we just started a bit too late. Like I said, particularly on our rig, there was one result in particular area that went against us. And instead of being, only 3 behind, all of a sudden we went double figures behind on our rink. And it probably took us 2 ends or so to get over that, more than what it needed to. A couple of chances weren't taken when they were taken, and that's when you got to take them in those finals. But certainly something to build on for the future. Now that we've been there and tasted it, it's like, well, now we could, well, at least now we know we can do this. Let's go and do it again,
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be aiming towards that.
The dust has settled, DJ. You've had obviously a few days to reflect on it. Looking at it from more team management or club management perspective, have you got goals set now already? You know, as you said, you've tasted a little bit of state final representation. Yeah, are you hoping that filters down through the rest of the club? What are you going to try and do over this next sort of 6 months, 12 months, what you want to achieve from this and build on this? Because I think that's something that clubs might have went to state finals this weekend past, and I would say some would just go, okay, we got beat, or we didn't achieve what we wanted to. Let's just move on to next year and just go through the motions next year again and just hope that we win. But I think a strategic review of how your club performed, achieved, what went well over the weekend, what could we improve on? Are there some holes in, I don't know, players? Is there some things the club could do better, or management of the weekend? Like, what's your thoughts on all that, DJ?
Yeah, we did it last year. Like, last year was a pretty big review. I mean, we did not get to where we should have got last year with the team that we had. A few things off the green affected that. We didn't have those factors this time around, and we've gone to achieve what we've achieved. And the good thing was, there's a lot of people back at home obviously watching on the live stream. The beauty of the live stream was they could stay at home and watch it. But then we had a bus load come down. We probably had about 30 or 40 rock up on the Sunday when we did the final. Like, Maitland City won this event in 92 and then came runner-up in 94. So they haven't been to this level since 1994.
Yeah.
They've won a few. They have won, like 94, they won the grade 6. And then in 2012 or 13 before I got there, they won grade 3. So they have won state events, and we regularly get grades 2 state finals, but it's just being able to make that next step and realize, well, yeah, I can win that now. So now, hopefully, this is a bit of a circuit breaker. It's probably the best way to put it. I think I've timed it all right. We'll see how we go, but we've got a season launch party on Friday night. Part of the reason for that was, yes, it's pretty much straight up to state finals, but also we've got a bit of a rebrand coming up in the club. Like, we're changing uniforms. Yeah, changing the uniforms. We're looking to build towards 2 undercover greens and bringing a world-class goalie facility to the club. And I think this is a good stepping stone for that, for us to be that competitive at that level. Other than Platinum, which you have to buy into effectively, this is the top level that just every club can enter, and we managed to get to the final of that and be runner-up in that. So that's something hopefully for the lower grades to look at that and go, well, I'm going to do that at my grade now. So we'll talk about that on Friday night. I'll talk about a few cultural things because I think we're finally starting to get our culture right. I mean, there's always been concerns of mine at times with certain people when you go away they like to have a good time. Like, are they going to be able to dial it back? Because some people get carried away. I mean, I've been away to state pennant finals where two of my teammates try to have a punch on in the middle of the club.
Yeah.
That's not good for team morale.
No.
So you can't have that stuff. But on the weekend, it was awesome. Like I sort of talked to you last week, I try not to force things down people's throats. I try not to tell them, we're just going to live in each other's pockets over the weekend. I just we're going to do this at this time and this at this time. And then Saturday night was probably a time to go, right, fellas, we'll just all do what we want to do. Do what you want to do. Get to bed when you want to get to bed, as long as it's not too late, obviously. But I didn't say that. I just rely on them to be adults, like I said last week. But then you sit there in the club after the game and you realise where you are at. And there was actually a couple of them came to me and goes, "What's the plan tonight?" And I said, "Well, it wasn't really much. I know I'm just going to head down to the club underneath the hotel that was staying at." And a couple of them came to me and went, "No, we all need to be together tonight."
Yep.
So that was great to hear. That was great to hear. So you've let the guys sort of do their own thing and work it out for themselves. And like when your kids come and say, "Daddy, I tied in my room without being told to," it was a proud moment, mate. Proud moment.
Yeah.
So it was, but no, we all just did that. But again, it wasn't even sitting there as a full group. It was just sitting there in our own little groups, just talking to the 2 or 3 people that are beside you, and that flowed down through the table. We all had a bit of dinner, and then we all did our own thing and went on our merry way. Came back the next day, had a bit of a penalty kick against Canada. Probably took the guys probably a while to get there. And I'll be honest, that was my worst game of the weekend. I just couldn't. No disrespect to the opposition, but I couldn't focus. One, they are different to play against. It was a bit disappointing from that perspective because they've got a couple of very talented players there, but they were more content on trying to poke the opposition and just try and stir things up instead of putting their heads down. There's a couple of people there can play. So there's a young Tim that was on the live stream. Now he was good to be fair to him, and he's in the junior setup in New South Wales. He can play. I don't know what his future plans are. I might be on the phone soon because he impressed me. But there's some of the other ones there that are probably in around our age and maybe slightly younger. And that's all they were intent on was just basically getting into the opposition and trying to rub their noses. And all honesty,
maybe DJ, does that come from maybe self-confidence that they didn't really think that they could beat you guys on, in terms of bowling ability, so we'll try it a different way. And there is maybe that attitude from a few bowlers out there.
Maybe so, but they, by no means. But against us, they were nowhere near what they were in the game the day before when they played Grandviews. It was some of that stuff needed to be pulled in the line, I thought. And if anyone's listening from Canada, get in touch if you want. But I just looked at that team and thought, you've got to be a number one state final. You haven't played that level for a while. You've got some very good players there that can play, and they beat Warilla. And they pushed Grandviews all the way. They pushed Port City all the way, and then just lost in the last couple of games. So they were very close to being very competitive. Just focus on that. Focus on that.
Yeah, maybe that's a good point for our listeners out there. That's focusing on your bowling ability rather than anything else. Whenever you're out there, let's focus on your game rather than anything else, or trying to upset the opposition. You're out there to play your best bowls.
Yeah, and our guys were too experienced for that too. Nobody bought into any of the rubbish. They just, a few little comments here there, just sort of sat back a bit. By all means, it wasn't ridiculous, but you just look at it and go, if you actually put your head down and played, you could probably play a bit here. But anyway, back onto the topic. It was a bit of a penalty kick for us. Realistically, we knew games aren't won on paper, but for them to come out and beat us on all 3 rinks and by 30 or 40 shots, we were going to have to fall over. So you're playing that game trying to win, but also you've got that eye on the final. You've got the eye on the game across the green, which is sort of number one. How's Grandviews going? Well, they're actually losing, so realistically, we're not getting knocked off here no matter what happens. So you're not mentally 100% of the game. Then you're looking over at Cabramatta, going, we'll play them later because they were really going to lose either. And you're going, well, what are we doing here? What's the weather doing? So by all means, that game was my worst, and that's my own fault. But at the same time, when it then came to the final, I was able to put all that aside and dial in again. And maybe not the greatest show on earth, but by all means, it was definitely an improvement on the morning.
Yep.
And you contributed to the team best you can in very tricky conditions. But I'll sit over the next few weeks and review it. Obviously, we've got a bit of time for the next pennant season. We know where we fell short. There'll be a few guys who will admit that they probably left a few bowls out there in the final they wish they didn't leave out there. So we'll work towards self-improvement on that. But also, like, you have to keep trying to improve. So I'll be looking around at what is around that can potentially improve us. Like, now that we've got to that level, there's naturally a few people are going to look at us. Like, I've already had a couple of text messages of people that are inquiring for next year, and like the season only started there yesterday. So we finished on Sunday, and the new season started. So that's where it's a bit tough. You don't get that time of reflection. Now we're straight into a new season, so you got to sort of move on quickly, but still look at what you were doing. It's not just a target for the Grade 1 now, it's a target for our whole club to get everyone on board to watch what we achieve there and go, right, well, I want to achieve that too for the club, and we want to move on from there in every grade and do the right thing there. So that's what we'll be talking about on Friday night, and having that. It's the first time we've done a season launch, so hopefully it goes well. I've got 70 odd bowlers rocking up, so it's been pretty well supported.
Yeah,
we'll all get our new uniforms out and move on to a new dawn for Club Maitland City.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty good way to start the season off, DJ, is to get everyone together, or as many people as you can in terms of your bowling membership, and just kind of lay out what's ahead for what you've got for the season events. As you say, you're doing a bit of a rebranding in terms of club colours and things like that, new uniforms. You can lay all that out. It's a good point of communication to the members in terms of what's expectations are from the club to the players, and players can, I don't know if you've got a thing that players can obviously voice their expectations the other way from player to club.
That's
maybe
that's what it's going to be about. Yeah,
it's a bit of a chat, a bit of a get together. I know the Riser done the same at Tarrant Point on Sunday. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there because I was up in Brisbane, but he done something similar. He got everyone together for a season launch, and explained a few things, a few changes throughout the club and for next season, and also spoke about the unification as well from men and women combining together.
Well, that's one of the topics we want to talk about too. Obviously, the whole landscape of bowls in New South Wales is altering a bit. I wouldn't say it's a drastic change. Like the men really aren't going to see much different to what we play in and who we play against, but the women definitely have to adapt to that, some new regions and stuff. So that'll have to be touched on too, because if there's one thing I've learned from the sport is people tend to live on the past and just keep calling. There's still people call our zone singles district singles, and hasn't been district singles for nearly 10 years. So now we're moving to regional singles, and now they've got to get that into their head now too. So just trying to, I'd like to be a leader within our area, that my players are actually adapting to that and calling things by the right names and stuff like that there. Like, just even such, like, there was confusion during the year about what a roll-up was and what trial ends were.
Yeah, okay.
Just things like that. It's just the language of things, and I just think like we need to be a bit more professional in a few things, just not just from my end, but from the whole club as a whole. So we'll start that from this year and start pushing that a bit harder. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah, maybe that's a good pointer for anyone out there. Their club, if they don't do anything like that, maybe it's a good idea that your club can maybe start introducing, whether it's a season launch or get together every year and sort of laying out maybe some goals or aspirations of the club, get together as a group. And yeah, it's a good point to start the season off with. So maybe something that clubs can introduce out there if they aren't doing something like that already. Yeah, it was definitely, I think, something that's well received from members, and something that maybe they can get their point across. But going back, DJ, we touched on unification. So for any non-Australian listeners out there, because we do have a few across the waters, DJ, don't we? We're reaching out different countries. Here in New South Wales, we had two different associations who had basically a men's association and a ladies association, and they have now combined. So we're all one. And also our regions and clubs that were separated in terms of having, for instance, Tarrant Point Bowls Club had a men's bowls club and had a ladies bowls club, two separate clubs run separately, and we've now combined to just one Tarrant Point bowling club. So all the ladies events, men's events, they're all run under one banner, and a lot more integration of male and female, which is, I think, a positive thing for our sport, DJ. We should just be all playing together. There's no reason why we shouldn't be, and cuts down on administration and things like that to help streamline our sport. So for any of your listeners out there,
2024, we're trying to move on.
Yeah, that aren't aware of that, that's what's happening in New South Wales. And obviously there's been a few teething errors, and obviously there's a lot of change happening, which you've alluded to, that may not sit well with some people and is encouraged by other people. But ultimately, I think it's a good thing that we push forward, and we should all be playing together under the one banner.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good time to lead on to a little bit of around the greens, I suppose, mate. So, like we talked about Grade 1. Well done, Cabramatta. Jay Porter and the guys. Awesome effort. I mean, to win, like I said earlier, to win platinum and then back up and win Grade 1. Awesome achievement. I wish it wasn't against us, but it was an awesome achievement.
Yeah.
So well done to Cabramatta. They deserve that. Club Maitland City coming runners up in that one. Then we go down to Grade 2. Well done, Austral. Austral had a win there over Harbord. So Austral will hopefully now make a step up into Grade 1 and have a challenge there. Grade 3 winners, Waverley.
Waverley from our zone, DJ.
Yeah, there's a fella on the end of the flag there with a gold medal around his neck. I'm pretty sure I've seen with a gold medal around his neck before, maybe at a World Championship. So what he's doing in Grade 3 is baffling, but well done to Waverley Bowling Club. I had a chat to Rick Roper during the Belrose event for Division 3 men's pennant, and he was saying there were some nice things happening over there at the club, so it's good to see them get rewarded. And obviously then they'll now step up to Grade 2. Yep. And their runners-up was Campbelltown, which is good because I can't say I've seen Campbelltown in and around these finals too much, so it's good to see another club stepping up and getting to these finals. And then a bit closer to home, Grade 4, Scone. I've had my fair bit to say behind the scenes about this one. In fact, when they got regressed from Grade 3 to Grade 4, I made a phone call to the State Match Committee Chairman and said, there's your state winners. And look, here, lo and behold.
Good predictor, DJ. Well done.
Ah, man, they're a good side. Like they are a very, very good side. Tristan Wells and the boys, they've got guys that challenge for the Zone 6 or have challenged. We're not a region, but the previous Zone 6 rep sides and stuff. They've got guys in there that were good enough to play on that, and there's guys in there that I have approached about come down and have a go at Maitland City. I reckon you can play Grade 1, you know. But they well done to them. They went down to Fig Tree and they beat Wormsey in the final, and Scone brought a state flag back to Zone 6. So well done to them. And then down in the Grade 5, we've got Hillsdale. There's a very familiar face in that photo too, Mr. Brad Hughes. How did he get in there?
Another club in Tarn Point zone. So, yeah, that was good.
Oh, yeah, very good. So, yeah, they had a nice win, Hillsdale over Cabramatta. I believe that was at Cabramatta too. So, it's a pity we couldn't send Cabramatta home with another runners-up flag. But, yeah, but they got runner-up in Grade 5. On to Grade 6, Belfield. I'm not even sure where that's from. There's definitely some new clubs popping up here that you don't see too often. But well done, Belfield, winning Grade 6. They won that over Soldiers Point. So, very well done. Soldiers Point, always competitive throughout the grades up here in the Newcastle area. And they had a Grade 1 team down there on the weekend as well. So, they got runners-up in Grade 6. Finally, then on to Grade 7, and we had Bingara with a nice win over Tura Beach. So, congratulations to everyone, all those winners and runners-up, making a state final. It's not something you can take lightly. Everyone tries very, very hard to get there. Some people do, some people don't. Some people get there multiples. But yeah, by all means, well done to everyone that actually got there, competed. And of course, well done to the winners. And make sure you're brave enough to step up to the next grade next year, because that's what we need in the sport, because there's too many people playing in the lower grades. So have a bit of backbone, step up, see if you can back it up and win the grade higher next year.
That's it. Well done to all those teams. And yeah, that was a big weekend of bowls throughout the state, DJ. So everyone moves on to a new season now, starting afresh, 1st of July. So let's bring on the new season.
That's it, mate. And you see, we'll touch on this a little bit. We'll not go into too much detail because it could cause controversy. In fact, we did when we brought up selections last time. I got a phone call. But we have all the state sides have been announced for the Queensland Test Series. You can see those on the Bowls New South Wales page. I'm just going to give a shout out. We're not going to look at all the sides in too much detail, but I do want to give a shout out to obviously Andrew Reese, who plays at Club Maitland City. Andrew made it into the state men's over 40s.
Yep.
So he did. So well done, Andrew. I know he's been trying for a lot of years to try and make these type of sides. So well done, Andrew. You're not even in the best 8 over 40s at Maitland City, but you managed to make the state side. So well done to you, Andrew. Well done. Andrew actually works at the club now, but I think he works at the club. We haven't seen him much between the Aussie Open and state pennant finals.
He's been away playing bowls, is he? Yeah.
I know he's picked for New South Wales and he's going to the Aussie Indoor. So yeah, hopefully Andrew will not forget what you look like. But mate, that men's New South Wales state side is
it's red hot.
It's
DJ.
a hard one to get into, isn't it?
It is red hot. It is full of international players, not only state.
You've got look at Team 1 there. You got Nick Cahill, Jackaroo. You got Peter Taylor, trophies galore. You got Carl Healy, Jackaroo world champion. You got Lee Schreiner, probably should be a Jackaroo, but for some reasons he isn't. And then you've got Cody Packer, Jackaroo, leading in Rig 2, who actually skipped when he was in Western Australia. You got Corey Wedlock, world champion, playing second. Jackaroo. Aaron Tees, world champion. Jackaroo, playing third. You got Aaron Wilson, Commonwealth Games and world champion, playing skip. Then you got Daniel Hill from Charlestown, who very, very quality player. Was there last year and played in the undefeated rink. Or played one of the undefeated rinks at the Alice Shield last year, so Daniel's kept his spot. Brett Spurs just come up from Victoria, won a state pairs this year. He's in there. Dave Ferguson, who's been around for a lot of years. Benny Twist, current Jackaroo. And then you've got on the sideline Jay Bruce, current state singles champion, and Jay By Norris, who's just come up from Victoria as well. I thought he'd have a crack in New South Wales too. So everyone wants to be a New South Wales Blue by the looks of it. Interesting that they've named a squad of 14, though. It's the first time I've seen that.
I think, DJ, if anyone has any aspirations of making that stateside, I think you're better off trying to win a world title or a Commonwealth Games medal first.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's the requirement to get into that side, really.
That's a hard side to break into, so it is. But yeah, certainly interesting. Naming obviously 12 players and 14 reserves just shows you the depth that they still want to try people out. Fit a bit for young Cal Hansen. I mean, they named a squad of 16 for the trials, and Cal realistically is the only one not named there, so unfortunate for Cal, but he'll get there. Like, he's absolute quality. Razor touched on him in his interview. And as we talked about off air, mate, you said yourself, he was possibly only 2 bowls away from making this side. He would have been a double state champion this year. And then obviously Mason Lewis is a bit of an omission there, but Mason's unavailable for a trip overseas, I believe, and he's another one has to come back in there. Yeah, he's quality. So yeah, we've got plenty of talent here in New South Wales.
In New South Wales, you could probably that side, DJ. If you were to play that side, here's a maybe controversial topic. What if that side went and played a lot of the other international countries? How do you think they would go?
Oh, mate. Just a 3-rink format. Oh, mate. There's not too many going to beat that. I'll put the pressure on them, mate. The Alice Shield is theirs to lose. That's a red hot side.
You've put the knockers on them, DJ.
No, they only lost 1 rink last year. They should be looking to build on that. But that's a quality side. So it is. And then you got the women's side as well. Few little changes in here, but yeah, absolute quality game, mate. Like Kate Matthews, Ellen Fife. Ellen only played second. Anne Johns and Natasha Van Eldick. 2 girls that have been around for a long time. Natasha's the current Jackaroo. Anne Johns was a Jackaroo in the past. Jodie Freud from Port Macquarie City, who I think she's come up from Victoria, I believe. Your own Kate Walker from Tarrant Point.
Yep.
Brianna Smith stepping up to play third, having played front end last year. Dawn Heyman. For those that don't know Dawn, she's a player from St John's Park. Goes all right now in a game.
Yeah.
Wins a few things here or there. You've got Erin Swatridge from St John's Park. Sarah Boddington, who's been around for years from Foster. Absolute quality draw player and singles player. Jessie Cattell playing third for Jamie Lee Warstow from Cabramatta. So a few little changes in there. A lot of the personnel, like I don't think there's any. There might be a couple of new caps or whatever in there, but they're all experienced players that have been around that level for a while. So well done to them. Unlucky for those that have missed out. But yeah, another absolute quality side there. So it'll be interesting to see how they go when it comes to the Nationals later on in the year. But this is just for the Queensland's Test Series, held at St John's Park on the 17th and 18th of July. So might have to see if we can maybe do a podcast from down there, mate.
Ooh, that's a good chuck out there, DJ, that we could probably maybe do a live one from.
Anthony Cawdy might even loan us his live stream equipment. Might be able to do one on the camera, mate. Yeah,
that might be actually a good call, DJ. We'll see if we can lock that in.
Anyone down in that area that has knows a good makeup artist, Simon, get in touch with Simon. He could probably do with it.
I'll see if I can get that beanie stretched for your head, mate, and we'll make sure you don't go cold. It's July, winter time, so I'll make sure you've got a beanie, mate.
Good on you, mate. Now, well done to all those selected. Commiserations to those that weren't, but obviously very competitive getting those type of sides. So good luck to them all. And I'm sure some of those that are disappointed will be not far away in the near future.
All right, DJ. So for our next segment, we're going to go across the ditch to New Zealand. You've got some bowlers, but just before we do that, this weekend, bit of a disappointment on the bowls green in terms of Club Maitland City. But there's another disappointment, DJ, after that as well, in terms of your, what will I say, expression of interest in looking to be part of the state match committee. How did that end up?
Ambitions, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got the phone call from CEO Tim on Monday there to basically said that it wasn't to be this time around. The board has chosen to go in a different direction. So it'll be interesting I have expressed an interest in having some feedback on that as to why I didn't make it. But good luck to those that made it on. If you need any help, go to episodes 4, 6, and 7 or something like that. They'll tell you how to run them.
Well, but no, it's funny you said that, DJ. Look, if it's a loss for Bowls New South Wales, I really think, but it's again for What a Load of Balls podcast, really. It just means we're going to have better content on here, really, that you can say whatever you want.
Say, you know yourself, there's a few topics I've said we're not going to talk about because I did have those aspirations, but maybe going forward now we can touch on a few things. Like
you can go full throttle now, DJ, and rant about whatever you want. Watch out, listeners.
Go full throttle now. No, I mean, by all means, there's a certain petition doing the rounds online about age restrictions that we can maybe start talking about that we've missed in the past. Certain player gradings playing at levels that they shouldn't have been playing at before. Maybe we can dive into that a bit more. But I'm not going to do that now because people just say, "Oh, he's bitter." But I'm disappointed. I told him I was disappointed. I put my hand up because I felt I could make a difference, and that's what I wanted to do. I've been on there before. Took a bit of time away. They started a new process where they actually interviewed candidates to try and get the right candidates, and by all means, I believe and I've been told that I interviewed pretty darn well, so it'll be interesting to see why I didn't make it on, but there's definitely no bitterness. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. It's probably one less thing for me to worry about too, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes and what feedback I do get. Hopefully I do get that feedback as to where I fell short, but yeah, just one of those things, mate. Bit of disappointment, but we move on.
It's interesting, DJ, that Bowls, or as I say, Bowls New South Wales and maybe Bowls in general over here, that we actually interview for positions like that, which I think is...
Well, it's the first time they've done it.
I think that's a good step forward, and something maybe other clubs across different countries or your association, your region, whatever it may be, might be something that they could look at as well. Like, it's instead of just plucking somebody out of thin air, and actually have a process that we go through to get the right people in the right positions, and whether that pans out that way or not can be debatable maybe, but at least if that process is there, you're probably more than likely to get the right person. Not necessarily all the time, but if you have something in place and a criteria that you need to fill certain spots or roles that people need to have certain qualifications or experiences in, then obviously that's a good step forward for our sport if that's something that becomes a norm. What do you think?
I do believe that was episode 3 of the podcast, coincidentally, but yes. But that was part of the reason I went in, mate, because, in the past you just get volunteers, people put their hand up, they pick on what they think's right, but this time you actually had to put in, had to put in all your experiences, blah, 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 what you've done, and then you actually had to go through a 15-minute interview process to test my knowledge on the conditions to play. Interview didn't go for 15 minutes because they answered the questions pretty quickly with no nonsense, but, man, we can sit here and talk about it all day, and I don't want to sound bitter because I'm definitely not. I'm not bitter about it. I'm disappointed because you put your hand up for these things because you want to do that, because, like I said, I felt like it make a difference, but on this occasion it's not to be. They've elected 6 other people onto the positions, and they'll do that job for the next 24 months, and just fix the calendar. Come on, fix the calendar, fix the gradings, just do what needs to be done, please. At least now I can whinge about it more.
That's it. All good for us, DJ. We'll happily take your comments on board and whatever you say on What a Load of Balls podcast. So I'm sure our listeners will appreciate that. So
yeah, good on
okay,
you.
So moving on to across the ditch, DJ. We've come up with a few Kiwi greatest bowlers, or a short list, and we're gonna you've got some research on a little bit of a short list on male and female bowlers.
Yeah, mate, we say we're continuing our GOAT debate, and we're going to look at New Zealand this week, the land of the long white cloud, I believe they're known as. But yeah, mate, some absolute legends have come from New Zealand. Couple of things I picked up on. There's only a few have met really the longevity side of things that we've talked about, because it seems to be from tournament to tournament or championship to championship. There's a bit of turnover. Now, what that shows is that there's a lot of competition, obviously, in New Zealand, just like there is here in Australia. Yep. So there's obviously a lot of competition, and when you start just sitting down and trying to think of some names, you can rattle off quite a few, but then when you actually dive into it and start pulling the names off, you're like, oh yeah, I know that name, I know that name, I know that name, I know that name. It just keeps going. So absolute quality throughout New Zealand, but we have managed to shorten it down. I did say to you, I want to give a special mention to Millie Khan, who unfortunately no longer is with us, but Millie was a New Zealand international, won some Commonwealth medals, but then not only that, she had 2 daughters.
Yeah,
Jan and Marina, who both went on to play bowls for New Zealand, and both went on to win World and Commonwealth medals. And in fact, they won a bronze medal together, the 2006 women's pairs in the Commonwealth Games. So congratulations to the Khan family. But moving on from there, there's a few other names that we want to talk about. Looking back in the day, we've got Sharon Sims. So Sharon won the gold at the pairs in Manchester in 2002. She also won 3 World Outdoor medals in gold World Outdoor medals at Moama for 2 of those and Leamington Spa. So she's done it down in the Southern Hemisphere. She's done it in the UK, and then a bronze medal in Christchurch in the triples back in 2008. So she's been around for a bit. But then there's a few others that just sort of outdone that. And just to have a quick look, there's a current crop that are current generation that's starting to pave their own way and winning a few things. You've got to look at, you got Selena Goddard there, came over and played Platinum Pinner for Winter Leagues. You've got Caitlin Inch, who's doing her thing in Queensland, and the current women's world outdoor singles champion in Taylor Bruce as well. So those 3 are all similar age. They're all paving their way for New Zealand now, winning New Zealand titles, winning world titles, like they say. Taylor won gold in the singles and silver in the triples this time around. She's also got 2 bronze medals in the fours and triples from Commonwealth Games, and she's the 2022 gold medalist in the World Champion Champions. Caitlin, a couple of world medals, a couple of Commonwealth medals, and the same for Selena. So they're paving their way, but there's definitely just above them. Then that's your current crop. You've got 2 legends of the game in New Zealand, and they're the only 2 really for debate for the greatest of all time female bowler from New Zealand. They're not going to shock any names here, but it will be Val Smith is one of those.
Yep.
And I've ebbed and flowed between her and the other one, but it's like Val's got just countless medals. She's been around for ages and ages and continues to win. I mean, she's got, 2 golds, 4 silvers, and 3 bronzes from World Championships, including a World Singles, which is your blue ribbon event. And then she's got 4 medals from the Commonwealth Games and silver and 3 bronzes. She's been around New Zealand and Australia for a long time. She keeps going, keeps winning things. So Val's obviously up there for discussion, along with the one and the only Joe Edwards.
Yeah.
No shocks there at all. Maybe
no shocks there,
off your chair when I mentioned that name, but Val and Joe are just absolute legends. And it's funny how you find that, isn't it, mate? You get 2 people that just seem to push each other and strive against each other, and they drive each other on to win these things, you know. So Joe's got 3 gold medals from the Commonwealth Games. She was in 2014 and then backed it up 2018 singles. And then 2002 in Manchester, she won the pairs. She's got 2 golds in the World Outdoors, which is Leamington Spa in 2004 pairs, and then backed it up in 2008 with Christchurch pairs. 2 silvers and a bronze there as well. She's obviously doing her thing in Australia as well, in the BPL.
Yep.
But just like we talked about Jeremy last week with the World Cup singles, mate, she's got 6 women's World Cup singles titles.
Wow.
So she has, and it's just a phenomenal record, you know. Jeremy did it, and then Joe did it as well, and it's just a phenomenal record. And 2 of those finals, she managed to knock Karen Murphy off. So she did as well, which is by no mean feat, you know.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Look, I think I tossed and turned between Joe and Val, but I just think with the World Cup ones on top of what she's done, and how she's still doing it now in BPL and stuff, I think you have to give it to Joe Edwards from New Zealand, which is no real insult to Val because Joe's such a quality player, but those 2, they're just stand out for what they've done for bowls in New Zealand, and congratulations to them on their careers, obviously. But if I'm putting one through, I'm definitely going to put Joe Edwards through, mate. Would you like to try and talk me out of that one? Or would you
I don't think so, DJ. That was the first name that came to my mind when you said you're going up to look at New Zealand this week. That was Joe Edwards was the first one that came to my mind, as should be number 1. So, yeah, in terms of what she's won and achieved, like she has to be the greatest, I think, of all time, and just ebbs over Val, really.
Just the amount of caps they've even racked up for New Zealand, you know, it's just insane, man. So they have to be the only 2 that you really talk about. I mean, there's some girls that we mentioned there, the 3 current generation that we mentioned that could possibly get there over longevity. They've still got plenty of time.
Come through, yep.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're doing their thing at the highest level now. They've got opportunities to play in Australia that some people didn't have back in the day too. So they're doing that now and still getting picked for New Zealand and still competing. So, by all means, it's looking good for bowls in New Zealand.
Yep.
Moving on to the men's, interesting stat, mate. If anyone wants to prove me wrong, they can. But I was flicking back through all this, and our criteria is world medals and Commonwealth medals.
Yep.
There's not a man from New Zealand who's won a Commonwealth medal any colour since 2002.
No way. Over 20 years.
20,
from New Zealand have won a Commonwealth Games medal.
And you think of the names that have come out of that. You think of, like, we're going to look at some of the recent ones now, but you think of the names that have come out of that. They haven't won a medal of any colour at Commonwealth Games since 2002.
And is that men only, or
Just the men.
Just the men.
The women
okay.
have, but just the men. So it was. Wow. So yeah, I was shocked by that.
Such a stature of a country in lawn bowls in terms of New Zealand, like always up there competing with the highest with Australia. And
just nothing since back then.
Wow.
Phenomenal. And again, similar to the women, you go through World Championships, then you go to the next World Championships, then you go to the Commonwealth Games in between, and there's so many names in there that you recognise, and they're always fighting for positions with each other, and there's chopping and changing. It's incredible. Like we touched on one earlier, 2016 World Fours, Mike Nagy won that. Now he's playing Grade 3 at Waverley. He's playing Grade 3 at Waverley.
Don't worry, DJ. Don't worry, DJ. We've tried to get him back to Tarrant Point to play Platinum Pennants, but no.
Shows how hard you are to play with. You can't even be a world champion to play with yet. You'd rather go play Grade 3. That shows you how hard you are to play with. But anyway, so a couple of honourable mentions for the men in New Zealand. Honourable might not be the right name for this.
Just a few mentions, DJ. That's maybe
a few mentions. Yep. Honourable for some of them, but this next guy that we're going to talk about is honourable. Very good player. Very good player. Very high level player. Very, 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 very controversial player, however. And if we're looking at Dally M criteria as well, where best and fairest comes into play, he probably has to be left out of this conversation, but he has won 2 gold medals, World Outdoor, a silver and a bronze, has missed a few events due to disciplinary things, but Gary Lawson's a very, very good player. You can't deny that. Very good player. But Gary has served 3 bans at separate times, so that's hampered his career. So it has. So, but Gary, like you see Gary's name around. He's won a few Australian Open titles in here. He's over here quite regularly. I think he plays with Ryan Besser quite a bit, or used to. So he's a very good player that's came out of New Zealand, but it's just been hampered by those disciplinary things, mate. And he didn't play international bowls for almost 9 years because of one of those issues. So you wonder what he's one of those ones. There's quite a few of them around, and you know this too. You just look at him and you think, what could have been?
Yep.
What could have been? And I heard a lot of people talk about how good he was and how good he still is, but you just have to think maybe what had been there, and he could have been up in this discussion. But we'll move on from that one. Next fellow I want to look at is Russell Meyer, which is a familiar name for us. Russell's done spectacular for New Zealand. He's got a couple of World Championship medals, 2 bronzes and 2 golds. Stemming from 2000 in Johannesburg right up to Christchurch in 2008. So Russell obviously deserves a mention there. And then looking again, similar to what the women had, there's a current crop that longevity-wise they've been playing for quite a long time, but the fact that those Commonwealth medals haven't just come just makes you, maybe just leaves them out of the higher argument for that greatest of all time. And good mate of yours, Ali Forsyth. He played a lot of goals with Ali at Tarrant Point, but Ali's a world champion on his own right. I mean, he's won the World Fours in 2016 with Mike Nagy there that we talked about. He won the World Champions in 2004 in the singles, and 3 bronze medals at World Outdoors as well in 2008, 2012, and 2016. So Ali goes the events, Ali medals, just not Commonwealth Games for whatever reason, but he's been to a few. He's obviously represented New Zealand at high level, so Ali has to be talked about. Mate, would it be the best left-hander of all time, maybe?
Oh, that's a good one, DJ.
I have to look into that in more detail, but he's a phenomenal player, mate. He's one of the best.
Definitely up there, DJ.
One of the best exponents of that yard to 2 yard on shot. Like, he's not just your barge pole and just straight up the middle type of thing, trying to make things. He's got a bit of finesse about him. Won at least 1 BPL with New Zealand, I think. And I remember that series. He was just unbeatable.
Was that the one, DJ, where there's a clip of him and he ditches the jack and just gives it? Absolutely gives it going down the green. And
he's near doing the hacker, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But nice fellow off the green too, Ali. But yeah, mate, you want to talk a bit more about Ali and his achievements? He's got to be in the discussion.
Yeah. So moving over here, 2012, DJ, 12 years ago, rocked into Tarrant Point, and I got landed living in a house with Ali, so we became roommates. And he was a Manchester United fan, DJ, so we got off to a great start because we both loved Manchester United, so that was all good, and we love bowls, so we got on like a house on fire. And Ali's one of the best blokes off the green, and would have done anything for you. And on the green, he is one of the most fierce competitors I have ever played with and against. Honestly, his drive to succeed is phenomenal, and to want to win. That competitiveness, to want to win. Some people go out there and think, yeah, I'm really competitive, I want to win. Ali just took that to the next level. And I would say he is definitely up there as one of the best drive bowlers going around. Playing with Ali, I played on Ali's rink for a good number of years, and some of the shots that he played, it was a bit like watching Ronnie O'Sullivan on a snooker table. He would literally look at the head and go, I'll get the edge of that, which will get that, which will get that ball.
Yeah.
And the opposition would look at you and go, who is this guy? What does this guy think he is? Like, he's not going to get that. Next minute, drive would come down, duk, duk, duk. 2 or 3 balls would go. All of a sudden, we get a massive count, or we get the shot that we should never have got. That's what you came to expect from Ali. Just pulling off the miracle shots, and his fierce competitiveness was an absolute joy to play with for a good number of years at Tarrant Point, and was a lot to do with the success that Tarrant Point have had over the previous few years.
I said a lot about him whenever he moved down to Melbourne for that new job, and he was still flying him back up to play for the club. So he's obviously thought a lot by him, and he bought into the Tarrant Point culture. And yeah, by all means, top bloke.
Yep.
So yeah, deserves everything he achieves in the game. Moving on then, still in the sort of the current crop, fellows more sort of my age, a little bit younger than you, 37, Shannon McElroy.
Yep.
So Shannon's a previous World Singles winner, both at World Outdoor Championships and the World Champions back in 2018. And he's got 2 other bronze medals at World Championships in Christchurch and Adelaide. You see him all the time at BPL. You see him at the Aussie Open. You see him competing for New Zealand all the time. Shannon McElroy as well deserves a mention to be considered as one of the best at the come out of New Zealand. But then again, similar to the women, mate, there's just 2 elder statesmen of the game that you just cannot move past. And that is Peter Bellis and Rowan Brassey.
Yep.
And everybody knows who they are. Everyone knows what they can do. They've seen the videos on YouTube. Peter Bellis has got one of the best singles games ever against Willie Wood.
Yeah,
back in 1984 in Aberdeen.
Check it out on YouTube, listeners. Yeah, it is one to watch.
That was the one That was the one I showed you the other week. Phenomenal. Even just go to the last 3 ends. Phenomenal. How just watching the old bowls and everything too. Actually started before we came on tonight. I started watching. Just looking at his medals here. 1988, he won the world gold in the men's pairs with brass in Auckland, using the old wide bowls. And he's put this bowl out there, and I'm looking at it going, that's not coming back. That's nearly stopped, and it just turns at a right angle and comes back on itself. But that was skill back in the day when you still had to use the old wide bowls. You didn't have these narrow,
maybe that's something for our listeners
edges.
To get rid of those narrow bowls. Please, listeners,
get on
rid
the
of
YouTube.
Wide bowls.
Get on the
wide
YouTube
bowls.
and have a look. Get on the YouTube and have a look. Phenomenal. But yeah, Peter Bellis, 3 gold medals at outdoors, stemming from 84 right through to 2000 in Johannesburg, where he won the gold in the triples and a bronze in the fours. He won the men's singles in 84, like we talked about, over Willie Wood with a phenomenal last bowl of the game. And 1988 Auckland pairs with brass. He's got 2 Commonwealth Games bronze medals as well from 94 in Victoria and 1982 in Brisbane. That was in the singles. The Victoria one was in the fours. So been around for a long time. He's an MBE, so he'd be one of the last foreigners to be named an MBE, because it's not an MBE anymore. It's only for the people in the UK get those. So in the New Zealand Bowls Hall of Fame, one of the first ones we put in there. He's just phenomenal. And then, like we said, partner in crime, Rowan Brassey, who's been doing it in Australia for years now too. But Rowan's got a silver at Commonwealth Games from Brisbane in the fours. He's got a bronze in the fours with Peter at Victoria. He's got a men's pairs bronze in 1990 in Auckland. Bronze medal in the triples in 84, silver in 84. Gold medal in the men's pairs in Auckland 88. Gold in the men's triples in Johannesburg 2000. Bronze in the fours. And then silver medal in the men's triples at Ayr. So just medals and medals galore. He's a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit. He's an absolute legend of a fella. Yeah, definitely one of the best I've been lucky to play with and against me at Rowan. Yeah. So he is.
You've played with him, haven't you, DJ?
Played with him. We played a few against him. So we did early doors, and it wasn't close. But yeah, managed to get Rowan to come up and do a couple of marquee games for us when we used to have a Premier League competition up here in the Newcastle area, and then that transgressed into Rowan actually moving up here full time with his partner and playing a few seasons for Maitland City, mate. So for that reason, I'm going to give him the edge over Peter Bellis, because he's a Maitland City legend too. But he's just phenomenal to watch. I mean, by no means did we get Rowan at the peak of his career or the prime, but mate, I struggle to think of a better draw bowler. So he was phenomenal. I remember one game he skipped down at Beresfield Bowling Club on their synthetic, which you've played at as well. Very quick synthetic. And the skip there that he was playing against is a very good player in the Newcastle area, and I'm not going to name him. People will work it out, but he made him look silly, mate. He made him look absolutely silly. It was just... I remember a Matt back, short jack. The skip's ditched it, right? And he's ditched it well enough that he sat 18 inches from it in the ditch. We got 2. I think Rhodes just drawing one, and then it's like, oh, you could try again, Rowan, but if you touch ours is going to fall in. He just put it beside it. just like that.
Thank you very much, too.
So cool, calm, and collected on the green. Be a bit of a fireball off the green, don't get me wrong. I found that out. But he's on the green, mate. You just never know if he's playing social bowls or World Championship final or what he's doing. It's just the same delivery all the time. And again, talking about the YouTube videos and the old videos of Brass, like you go back and you watch him playing in 82, 88 or whatever, and you look at him playing in 2015 recently on any live stream. It's the same delivery, it's the same mannerism, same demeanour. It just lines it up, rolls it down, folds the arms and watches it and gets on with it. You know, there's no messing around. He was nicknamed the Iceman for a reason on the green. And, mate, it's a hard one between him and Peter, and I could be wrong here, and other people are going to share different opinions, and I might be a little bit biased because I do know him and I have played with him, but I'm probably going to put Rowan through. That's the best New Zealand player of all time. Do you want to try and talk me out of that one?
No, I'm not going to try and talk you out of it, DJ. But just what you said there, because I remember playing against Rowan when he was at Cabramatta, when I first came over and was playing at Tarn Point. I remember a good few games and playing against him, and just what you said, you didn't know that he was actually, whether he'd be playing social bowls or a grade 1 competitive, like his expression and it was exactly the same as what somebody just out playing a leisurely game of bowls, and you didn't know what you were getting from him. You didn't know, is he angry? Is he fired up? You just no idea. I didn't anyway, but yeah, it's interesting that you said that, and I think back to those games that I played against him, which was quite a while ago. But yeah, definitely his record and his medal tally and what he's done for New Zealand bowls and has been definitely up there with the best, DJ. So I think it's fair that he goes through as my greatest Kiwi male bowler.
The one thing that would have just settled it was if he had stayed with us and played with us on the weekend. He might have been enough to get us over the line, but just having that flag with Maitland City might have just been enough to not even have the debate. But yeah, I'd still put Rowan through. And like I said, people might say, oh, he's a bit of a bias or whatever, but no, man, you just look at his record. It's fantastic. Phenomenal player. And if you're sitting there and you needed to pick someone to draw a shot to save your life, he might not want to do it, but I'd probably pick Rowan.
Yeah.
So over anyone else. So, well done, Rowan and Joe. And it's a similar thing to what we talked about with Joe and Val. Like Peter and Rowan aren't too different in age. They came through at the same time. It's just amazing how those two just sort of seem to drive each other on. And they get better and better with it. And with that, the success comes. They were able to do it against each other and together. And yeah, by all means, done it in New Zealand, done it in the UK, done it, and they've continued to do it here in Australia. So, well done. I'm going to go with the greatest of all time from New Zealand, being Joe Edwards of the women and Rowan Brassey of the men. Great
stuff, DJ. Some good insight there into our fellow Kiwi bowlers, their success over the years and who's came through. So, nice one, DJ.
I'm setting a challenge for the men to go and win a Commonwealth Games medal of some colour.
Maybe I'll flick Ali a text and say, what happened to you, mate, over all those years?
Don't tell him I said that.
But he does like you, DJ, so it'll be okay.
Does he?
Yeah.
I hope so. He is a good one.
Yeah. We'll have a look at another country, DJ, next week.
Right, mate. So moving on to our next topic, we got a couple of mailbags in this week. You managed to get one, and I got one of my first ones as well. So, we want to talk a bit about that.
Please share, DJ.
Give the listeners a bit of what's going on. So, thanks to Sarah Meffrin, I hope I'm saying that right. She's contacted us from Portland Lawn Bowling Club in Oregon, USA.
Wow!
So she's been listening to the podcast. Simon says it's been great, super informative and entertaining as well. She was very interested in the app that we talked about, which was Stack Team app. So I'll give her a rundown of how that works. Sarah is she's only new to the game in the last couple of years, but she's looking at stepping up to be the VP of our bowling club. So second season bowler, but very passionate. Any advice greatly appreciated. So flicked her back to the team app, told her what we think we could do and a few different ideas for social. So she was able to get back to us again. Yeah, so thanks for getting back to me. Greatly appreciated. The only downside is, mate, she called me David. It's DJ.
Oh,
You know how I feel about that. But
oh
anyway, it
well.
is what it is. I only get that when I'm in trouble. But our club is trying so hard to get more members, but it seems like our work is starting to pay off. We've had a lot of new folks coming in, and membership is slowly but surely starting to rise. So it's good to see that, worldwide, people are still having the same problems. They all want to try and increase their membership. It's just finding the right ways to do that.
Yep.
We're having a fair bit of luck reaching out to veterans, so the older generation. I don't know if she means veterans from the army or anything there, but reaching out to veterans, it's not too strenuous of an exercise, but still a competitive sport that has a community behind it. One of the best things about bowling clubs is obviously the community around it.
Yep.
We're always looking for hot tips on how to attract new members. We've been way more present on Instagram and Facebook. It's just your go-to at the minute, isn't it? It gets you so much people listening and looking into what you're doing. We've been utilising Meetup and Nextdoor, which I'm assuming are a couple of apps from the US. I haven't looked into that. And I've been pretty active in putting up posters around the city. So some old school media there, mate, just putting posters up wherever they can, saying, trying to draw attention to the club. And it seems like once people come and try it, they love it, which we know that as well, mate. Pretty much how everyone starts the game. You come down, have a go, fall in love with it, get obsessed with it, move on. And it's just getting them in here on the first place. So we all know that issue. Another thing that has been helpful for us has been investing in a good speaker and playing music during social bowling. Simple, but it keeps the vibes high. It's something you've mentioned before too, mate, when it comes to Platinum about having a bit of background music and stuff. Just creates a bit of atmosphere, keeps people interested. It can be pretty quiet out there on the green at times, especially if you're playing first thing in the morning. Not everybody's awake yet. But now it was good to hear from Sarah. So Sarah's now got our poster of our podcast to put up around the States. So a few people in America starting to listen. So Sarah, if you're listening, thanks for listening, and thanks for getting in touch as well.
Yeah, some good sort of hits our DJ in terms of what she's done with her club. Some positive things. It's good to hear that she's actually increasing some membership. Because a lot of times all we hear is bowls losing members and clubs folding, and we all hear a lot of negative stuff. But it's really refreshing to hear that there are some clubs out there really putting some effort into membership drives, and to hear some of the things that actually is working for her club. So yeah, it's pretty, when you think about it, DJ, it's really simple things. A little bit of music, it's to create a good atmosphere around the club. So yeah, maybe if your club doesn't have any background music going during socials, I know over here we do it during pennant games as well. So during Platinum Pennants, we had a speaker beside the game, and you just got to make sure the right person's playlist is on. That's just going to say. Just make sure the vibe is good in terms of what type of music is being played. But if you get that right, then it can really add to the atmosphere around the green, which if you've got new bowlers coming in through the door, obviously that they'll have a positive impact and have a good feel vibe that is happening around the club. So, yeah, what do you think, DJ, on some of those pointers?
Mate, the biggest thing to me was how relatable it was.
Yeah,
that's things that all clubs say they have maybe concerns with or issues with, and this is coming from, like we said, Portland, Oregon, USA, a little bowling club over there, and someone who's only 2 years into the game is trying to strive to improve that. So it's just that's what I was finding. Just you're reading that, and you could read that email without knowing where it was from, and it could be from anywhere in the world. Like, it's just that relatable. So it's good to see that from an aspect too, because not everybody will realize that, you're not the only one going through problems. You're not the only one that is struggling to get those members. It is a worldwide thing, and everyone's looking to strive to do that. So very relatable, mate, was one thing I took away from it.
Yep. And yeah, it's not just, as you say, to one specific country or club. And I think this day and age, DJ, there's too many options for people out there in terms of leisure activities. Not just from a sporting perspective, but hobbies and interests and things like that people can take up or spend their weekend doing. So you are
only a certain market size.
Yeah, you're competing against a lot of other things to draw people's attention to. But one of the other little simple things was just having a presence on social media. Like, it is a great tool to get your club sort of known that it's there. I'm sure there's a lot of bowls clubs that you could drive past and you won't even know there's a bowls club there. So just having some sort of presence on social media, you don't have to be an expert in it. You just have to have some sort of presence. So whether that's you get the youngest person that's in your club and just delegate it to them. Just give us a presence. You don't have to do updates every single day, every hour. Just something there that is searchable, that if people actually want to find a bowls club, that you have a presence online and on social media, because that's where most people are these days.
For sure.
So yeah, some simple little things that maybe takeaways that other people could maybe utilize at their club, or if there's anything else out there that people have been trying or doing or was worked for their club, by all means, share it with us and we'll share it with our community. We'll talk about it, we'll discuss it, anything you've done, any types of tournaments or things like that, anything out of the ordinary, share it. Anything that can help your club can help everyone else, and hopefully keep driving some numbers up or get some more people involved in the sport that we all love.
That was good to touch on the mailbag again then this week, mate. Hopefully we've done enough this week to keep David Ellis interested for the whole episode. You know how it's got attention span of a goldfish, that fella. But hopefully he's listened in. It was good to get his feedback last week. But another week done and dusted, mate. We'll look at some more content for next week. Maybe have a look at some international events that are coming on. So if you're listening from a country elsewhere, you've got some events you want us to look at, send them through. We'll start to learn about them and put them up there. But yeah, mate, been another good week. And yeah, I'll be taking this next week pretty easy after the week that I've had. So it's been pretty good, mate. But yeah, enjoying it as always. And folks, we'll hopefully see you all next week. And just remember, keep that little disc on the inside.
Yeah, good luck, folks, on the green. And we'll catch you again next week.